Now the public hearing, these are some of the ground rules. Those who signed up to speak will be given 3 minutes each. Please give your undivided attention to the speaker. So I know you're not going to do that, but if they're speaking, let's all listen to what they have to say. Only one person should speak at a time. Now, I think 2 people signed up to come up together. That's okay, but what I mean is if one person's talking up there, then if we got somebody else talking in the back, we can't pay attention to either one of them. This is a public hearing, which means the board and the administrators are going to hear what you say. Somebody's going to take notes. But this is not a question and answer session. It's not a debate. It's not an argument. So it's just a hearing. So thank you very much for your attention. At this point, I think this podium, and there's a mic over there set up for those who wish to speak. And the first person to sign up is Tommy Calloway.
I appreciate the opportunity to be allowed to speak to this group, to the board. I apologize for my voice, but I've been sick the last couple of days and got a sore throat. My apologies. First of all, I want to say what a beautiful school this is you folks have here at Unity Elementary. It's a whole lot better than the school that I went to, Hall Avenue, right here in LaGrange. Your seats right here look just like brand new. Maybe they are, but the building looks extremely nice. It reminds me of my A model Ford. Now my A model is close to 80 years, no, I'm sorry, it's close to 85 years old. It's been kept in good shape, and I wouldn't get rid of that A model for anything. And just because, now it's 85 years old. This school is 47, I believe. I don't know exactly, but 47, and I see no reason to close it. I addressed my comments today not only to my board member, Debbie Burdett, but to all the board members here tonight, and just bear with me if you will. I hate to see Troup County school system shut down and close the school in order to build new schools in its place. We anticipate that closing Unity Elementary School, a great neighborhood school, will save approximately $1 million. Yet we won't turn around and build new schools at an estimated $21 million. Ladies and gentlemen, that'd take 20 years to recoup the $21 million that we spend. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I do not feel that the board should approve closing Unity School until a definite use for this empty building has been established. Just like at Cannon Street. No, nothing definite has been decided with that building. It's just sitting there empty, and every now and then the police go over there and run through the school, and that's it. Dr. Pugh's plan calls for eliminating extension teachers, one reason being that they are partially funded. How much is partially funded? Is that 10%, 20%, 50%? I don't know. Hadn't got an answer on that yet, but I will. But anyhow, we want to get rid of them because they're partially funded. I challenge the school board to demand that all totally non-funded positions at central office and the schools, all the schools, first be eliminated, then start with those that are only partially funded. For instance, we're in a budget crisis. In just the last board meeting, our board unanimously...
Mr. Calloway, the time has run out, but if you could summarize your...
I'll summarize. We only got 2 folks that want to speak, so if you could bear with me, I appreciate it.
I have a list like
Just for instance, this last board meeting, the board unanimously approved hiring 2 people to fill 2 positions. They were academic coaches, I believe. And then we turned right around and hired the 2 academic coaches who just retired or resigned. We hired them back part-time. Lastly, the board should ask one simple question on this decision, and that is, will closing Unity School benefit our students academically, and will closing Unity School benefit our teachers? Simple question. If we cannot answer that with a resounding yes, then the board should not approve closing Unity Elementary School. I appreciate your time.
The next person signed up is Frank Cox. I want to remind the speakers that we got a timer just to remind you up there, so if you could hold your remarks to pretty well within the time limit, we'd appreciate it.
Thanks for allowing me to speak, and I'll be real brief, Tony. I think that perhaps we might have a solution, and for once, I might be on the side of the school board. My recommendation would be that each of you call your city councilman, your mayor, and tell them to work immediately towards reestablish the LaGrange School Board. We would take the problem that the school board now have and give it back to the city of LaGrange and bring our children back home. Thank you.
The next speaker is Deborah Santiago.
Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I looked at the website and looked at your financial improvement actions PowerPoint presentation and looked at how you highlighted the budget proposals from metropolitan areas. Some of the budget proposals from other systems all indicated elimination of jobs and leave without paydays. Some indicate salary cuts, freezes, and an increase of class size. Troup County should follow suit and add to this hiring freeze, and then take a serious look at the luxuries that we can do without instead of laying off art and music teachers and closing this school. Some of the cuts I would recommend is to get rid of all your academic coaches, your RTI personnel, your graduation coaches, your communities in school, and the parent center. The job duties of the academic coaches, RTI personnel, communities in school, and graduation coaches can be shifted to teachers, data clerks, counselors, and the administrations within the school. This is what took place before we took on these luxuries. You need to reconfigure central office staff and cut 5 or more positions. The job responsibilities of those could be shared by other personnel in central office. Leave without pay days. I think all teachers should have 4 leave without pay days and 8 for administration and other staff members, as well as the administrators that are allowed 2 weeks paid vacation. That should also be leave without pay days. Next, I think you need to save our community schools because bigger is not better for our children. You need to close Hope Academy. You want to close the school as part of Plan B, close Hope Academy. Hope Academy, for those of y'all that do not know, serves alternative school students. This is a luxury. Prior to having Hope Academy, the alternative school students were served in their designated middle school and high schools. The middle schools and high school teachers have ISS, that is in-school suspension teachers, and they sit there sometimes days at a time with no students that they have to serve. So let's close Hope Academy. That would eliminate another 17 positions. As for the Parent Center, times are tough. We need to go back to the way it was 20 or 30 years ago. If a student lives within a certain district, let them go to that school. Register at that school. Let the counselors and the data clerks and the secretary find proof of residency, obtain the transferring of records, and so on and so forth. We don't need a Parent Center. Also, on another note, this is a side note, see what y'all can do about parent registration, because when a parent has more than one child in a school system, they're having to fill out all this extra paperwork on each individual child. As for salary cuts, I think that the superintendent's salary should be between $2,000 and $5,000 higher than the highest paid employee, which is, according to my calculations, $110,000. His income should reflect this fact, and I believe should be somewhere between $115,000 and $125,000. If he's serious about helping Troup County school systems, then he needs to take a pay cut. If all of my suggestions that I've mentioned were used, I estimate it would save the Troup County school system over $3 million. That will save this school. Art and music programs, those would be saved as well. Unity School is a school that promotes a community working together, and this helps students excel. Art and music teachers also foster creativity in students, and this too helps students excel. We're in this for the students. That's what we're in here for. My ideas do not kick the can down the road. However, they do ask for a return to the basics by eliminating some of these luxuries that we have. And like I said, remember, bigger is not always better for our kids. Thank you.
The next person who signed up is Charlie McKean.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I normally don't get up in front of a crowd because that's not me. But I've been in every building that the Troup County Board of Education owns. I painted in every one of them. This is one nice building. In fact, my partner and I painted this room here. You're talking about cutting out people, on the lower end of the totem pole. But if you want to start cutting, cut from the top. Cut the tree down. Mr. Pugh, how much are you willing to give your salary to keep this place open? Mr. Radcliffe, how much are you willing to give of your salary to keep this place open? And when the Board of Education goes to hire somebody, I see stupid plastered across your forehead. You just pick up anybody. Mr. Alford, it's always been a pleasure.
Been a pleasure, man.
Always. We go way back. Thank you.
Next person signed up is Mike Smith.
Thank you. I want to say that I agree with Mr. McKamey. But the comment I wanted to make is part of the problem we have is the problem that stems from corporate welfare. And as we all know, that comes from, what I'm referring to is the Kia plant here. I don't think it's fair for them to pay half of their taxes, or no taxes, and then 75% of their taxes. You know, I just wonder, how is that fair to this school? How is that fair to any of us? It's not.
The next speaker is Ben Reed.
When I first signed up to speak, to ask questions, I only saw 2 names on there. And because I saw 2 names, I was afraid that the questions wasn't going to be asked or someone was afraid to speak. But now that Mr. Callaway and other people have spoke, they'll answer all of my questions. And Mr. Callaway, I'll give you the rest of my minutes.
Next speaker is Decry McKamey.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity. First, I want to say this. I want to read something to the group from the LaGrange Life. And this is the scholastic achievement. I'm just going to read a sentence out of here. It says, Unity Elementary third graders achieved the highest system gains in math, science, and social studies. That is the school that you want to close. I just want to, let's give another hand for the faculty, the students, and for the parents. Initially, I had a couple of questions, but I'm gonna put them in the form of a statement. I'm concerned about the economic ability or the ability to now recruit businesses, because one of the tools to recruit those businesses is that they are concerned about you having neighborhood schools in your area. Well, guess what? Dr. P, you said that this is the new norm. And if this is the new norm, we better get ready for schools to be closed year in and year out. Because that's what they're doing. And we no longer will be able to recruit the Kias and all the other economic businesses that we need to come to LaGrange. Because y'all are going to close down all the schools in the community, and we're not going to have any community schools.
The next speaker's last name is Bruce. The first name is Gabriel or Gabriel. I apologize.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent, to the board. I come speaking as a concerned parent on today. I know we have had people who have came up, spoke on the numbers and reasons, and we won't get into that, so I take my 3 minutes to speak on that. I'm a disabled parent, I'm vision impaired. My wife, she's also has multiple sclerosis. I have a vision impaired daughter who goes to Unity, and I also have another daughter who's also a student here also. Unity has been a very good community school, and it has been very convenient for us. Our bus stop is right out in front of our home, and on the days my wife can't walk out to the bus stop, I can. So I'm very grateful that in the structure of that my daughters, who also is vision impaired, have been here all her school life, and I was thinking that she would be here until she went to 5th grade. She's very comfortable here. She can find where she wants to go, And so sometimes I think we forget about the students. We forget about the comfort of the students. We forget about the impact. What about the impact that it will have on the students just snatching up all their schools and their teachers and their friends and their surroundings and their bus stop? We all want comfort for our kids, and we want them to be comfortable, but we just gonna snatch them up in the middle of the night, not even give them a choice in the matter. We wait till February to make a public hearing about something that, and then time won't allow you to make no kind of objection or anything. So what about the students? What about the parents? What about the parents who live in this community that can walk their kids to school? We talk about saving money. It's saving money for those parents who walk about their door and to take their students home. When I went to school, when I grew up in elementary school, I went to Eastside Primary. I lived right on Ogletree Street. My mom walked me to school every day. And that was some of the best time that we had as parents. I could see the joy on my mama's face and just walk me to school and watch me go through them doors. She knew that I went to school. She knew that I was safe because she took me there. So I'm very thankful for this school. I know that when my daughter walked through these doors, she's safe. I know the teachers care about her because the way the happiness that on her face when she come home. She's grateful. She talk about how good extension is. Music. Why are you gonna cut music and art and then gonna complain when they ain't got nothing to do? We're gonna cut music and art for when they start acting up in class, when they start beating on stuff. You take the drum from them, they're gonna have to have something to beat on. You take the art from them, they're gonna have to have something to draw on. So we want to give them everything that they need, and I think they need unity to stay in this community.
The next person signed up is Elizabeth Thornton.
Good evening. It is a pleasure for me to address the school board and to express my concerns. But after hearing from Mr. Callaway and all of the rest of the people, my first thing is amen to everything they said. They have expressed all of my concerns and all of the things that I wanted to say. So I won't go back and repeat what they said. But whatever, those things are my concerns. But I want to make one point. Mr. McCamey was talking about the statistics of Unity School. Well, do you realize that the principal and some of those teachers that's here came from the school that you closed? And did you look at it? And did you look at the statistics from the school that they came from? You all have imposed hardships on the community. You have imposed hardships on kids and parents. And my understanding now, there are 3 kids to a seat on the school bus. Can you imagine that? Is that fair to the parents or to the children? I want you to consider the fact of having neighborhood schools. In fact, that $2 million that you're trying to save, I'm sure there are other methods to raise that. Is it worth what you're causing us? You have already stuck a knife in our community's back. Now you're trying to pour salt on open wounds, because those same kids, again, will be redone, redistricted, taken to another town. And I ask each one of you, if it was your child, would you allow it, or would you want it, or would you accept it? And again, Mr. Pugh, I want to ask the question, would you be the first one to accept a reduction in your salary to help save some money? Again, I got 1 minute. Mr. Callaway or somebody else, you can have that minute because you all have expressed everything that I want to say. Thank you much.
That is everyone who signed up to speak, but at this point we will open it up for anyone who now says, well, I'd like to speak too, I didn't sign up. So the same stipulation, 1 at a time and 3-minute time limit. And if anyone else would like to come forward, come on up. When you get there, tell us your name.
Thank you, Mr. Pugh. I'm Bill Gilmore. I really just have a comment to make. The school system went from 100 and 65 days, I believe, to 180. Is that correct? And I'd just like to know how much money would it save to go back to 165 days? By what you put on the screen, I think it would save like $1.5 million. Thank you.
Hello, how's everybody doing? My name is Gene Autry Perry Jr. I had last year 2 kids to attend this school, Kadeja Griffin and Kavaris Perry. Kavaris is still here now, but my point I want to make is they are our tomorrow. They are our future. Every day I come home, my son, the first thing he says to me, Dad, let me tell you what I learned at Unity. Let me tell you what I did at Unity. We don't need to close this school. I mean, I come way from Mississippi and got a home here in LaGrange. And every time I look around, we want to close schools. We want to close schools. So the question I'm asking is, after you close this school, how many more are you going to close? How many more? When do we put a Band-Aid over the wound? When do we heal it? Because the plan that you put ahead, it doesn't say anything about what's going to stop. Only thing I see is what's going to continue. So my thing to you all is, be open with your decisions that you make and realize that people's lives and livelihood are all at stake with what you're about to do. That's all I got. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Steve Garrett, and I'm nervous. The thing is, you know, we do need to put our kids first, and all this, you know, the formulas where they go by to get us this money and the million going here, and our future is going to spend 21 million, and that's the SPLOST money. I don't understand all this stuff, and I do look at it from a different perspective than the numbers people. But you know, the kids, and if you got this SPLOST money and they're going to let us spend $16 million to build a school, and we need a roof on this one. I mean, if I need a roof on my house, I'm not going to go move and build me another house. I've got to fix the one I got. If something's wrong with this one, I don't see anything wrong with this school. I grew up 2 blocks from here, and I was right downstairs here. We had the patrol. We had a bicycle patrol. So we helped the other kids come across the road. And do you remember that? I mean, I went through first through 6th grade here, and it meant a lot to me. I remember this school. But I just think that if our millage rate goes up, if whatever we got to do for these kids, let it go up. I mean, you know, we'll have to struggle with that. And another thing I thought, and you know, our sales tax here in LaGrange is 7 cents. If you go to Lynette, it's 9 cents. Why can't we pay an extra penny if that's what it takes to get this thing going? I don't know, whatever it takes, but we don't need to sacrifice the kids, and that's what all I got to say about it. The teachers and the custodians at these schools that are losing jobs, where are they going to go? The state's going to be having to dish out money to pay for them without a job, you know. So, thank y'all for letting me.
Good evening, esteemed board members. Bear with my accent. I actually been here since 2002, right after 9/11, and I moved here from Singapore. I remember the days we used to walk, 90% of students walking back from school, back and forth, from home to school. And my point I'm trying to bring up is, if we are trying to keep this school, I have a proposal. You might be able to use this as an option. Is there a possibility where we could just pay a little bit money? This is what we've been doing in Singapore. Students who are bused pay a minimum fee every month to chip in for the operations of the school. Buses, drivers, whatever it is. I remember it was somewhere around maybe $15 back then. I was in school in '85 when I was in elementary school. And I think I've seen all these parents here and they're really concerned about the school being closed. And I believe if everybody chips in, I know this is not something that the Truk County school system do where you charge kids to be on the bus. But I think if we can, you'd be surprised at how much money you can bring into the MNO for transport alone. Because I don't drive. We have a luxury of taking cabs, and all we do is do this. That's what I'm trained to do, just hail a cab. I want to go somewhere. My husband works during the day. There's no way I could take my child to school, so the bus is what we rely on. And I think if we could do that, there's a lot of ways where we actually put funds into this $4 million deficit. There's a lot. I think we can work something out. We can start somewhere. Somewhere is where we can start. Also, I think we could. This is such a lovely school. My daughter. When we were deciding which school we want to put for pre-K, this was the school that we chose. We didn't do any, mini, mo, oh God, whatever it is. My husband was about to propose any, mini, mo, but that was buried earlier. But this is such a lovely school. I think I don't mind paying $20 every month extra just to pitch in. And I believe all these parents here who want to keep the students, your kids in school, everybody, let's pitch in. Think about that, we could propose that. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to have a third public hearing in 3 years. And I don't mean that to sound flippant, but I mean that to say that it would be, I think, beneficial to remember our history. In 2003, I remember speaking to the Board of Education as we were talking about doing away with controlled choice based on race and going based by free and reduced lunch and having wide margins by which we would allow it. And I predicted at that point at the public hearing that we would quickly revert back to having racially identifiable schools. An issue that is not entirely of the school board's making, that is complex, that we must all wrestle with. I think that part of what we're dealing with, though, in terms of some of the underlying angst and resistance, is because we have failed to address issues that we could have addressed 10 years ago. Because what we're looking at now are closing racially identified schools for the sake of balancing. Some questions that I didn't hear addressed in the presentation is, in the short term, what will the impact on classroom sizes be? In the short term, what will the impact on classroom sizes be for all elementary schools and all of our students? What could perhaps be the adverse effect on property values where school buildings are closed and sit vacant, since property taxes are the main vehicle by which we fund our public schools? And again, it's been said, but I think it's worth reiterating, is what has been the impact on a child who was at Cannon Street and who went to Westside, who then went to Unity. What's been the impact on the morale of teachers and administrators who've had to go through with that? What I'm determined is because it is the third hearing, is that indeed that there is a vision. And there is a vision that we will have schools of about 700 students in size. It was alluded to in the presentation. I want to challenge, because again, if we are going to have unity, and that's the name of the school, and I think that's the call from the community. If we are to have unity, I want to challenge you that when you vote on this, if you vote to close it, that you also vote to name the other schools that you have on your list that are facing closure. And let me challenge you further, that when you vote to close Unity, one of the issues that may help to deal with some of the wounds that are being reopened, when you vote to close Unity, also vote to commit that in the southeast quadrant of LaGrange, you will rebuild a massive, beautiful school for southeast LaGrange.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? We're not going to adjourn until you get your shot. But I think this young lady right here wants to speak. Thank you.
Hello. Most of us had to go all the way across town to get to school. And by now, when we get someplace, we had to go to another place. We get tired of moving from school to school to school to get to another school. When we get someplace, we want to sit down and think. We like it here. That's it.
This is not a question and answer session, sir.
Okay, but anyway, if you look out front, right down here on the wall, you'll see a plaque that says Unity was built in 1951. I was only 1 year old. And I didn't go to school here at Unity or Westside or Rosemont or any of those places. I went to an all segregated school. It was all black. The only thing that was white was the baseball that we played. Why are you insisting on closing Unity and then there'll be another school? Children, my granddaughter, she likes this place. She loves it. She doesn't want to ride the bus. She says because there are 3 and 4 children to a seat. She wants to be a car ride. What's up with you, man? You're looking very arrogant. You know, you are an arrogant individual. Mr. Pugh.
Sir, did you want to speak? You started standing up a while ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't need to walk over, but I can say it from here. Just a couple of things. I build construction for a living, and so I try to watch people and see what people say or do. I've heard a lot of good comments, and I've watched the people look around and see what they do. Well, this lady right here made an excellent presentation, but 3/4 of the people sitting this way said, looked at her like, God, I wish this lady sat down and be quiet. Instead of saying, ma'am, can you give me your phone number, your email, Facebook, something, where I can get in touch with you, because you had some really good ideas, instead of closing a school that my little boy loves. I mean, second is, if you close this school, I got enough ninth grade education to know that about a mile that way is a lot smaller than this one. It's called Burden. If you get that one, you're going to get this one. If you go about 5 miles that way, there's a place called Rosemont. unless you're buying the houses behind it, you're closing it because there ain't nothing there but 3 roads. So you're talking about building a school at Ethel Kite. Well, I don't know if you've been down those roads in a while. They're like 1 lane wide, and there's about a 4-foot ditch on either side. I can tell you from doing construction, you're gonna spend about $4 or $5 million to make roads to get in and out of there. When you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vacant mills over here, you could push down in a few minutes and build a nice school and keep it in the neighborhood. And you know, it's, you spending money, you're gonna build the schools. I know you're gonna build the schools. I'm not dumb enough or even naive enough to think that you're not gonna build them. Because you did this whole presentation to say, I'm building a school. So let's just tear one of these mills down that nobody's ever gonna use again, sell the lumber out of them, and build a school right there and give these neighborhoods back to these schools. Because you can import them all and save us all a whole lot of trouble. Because you're going to build a school anyway, whether I like it, any of these people in this room like it, because everybody from 4 rows up and from that man in the red shirt this way wants a new school. Me, I'm in the construction business. Build a school. It's a piece of paycheck for me. But, and the last but not least, you give Key all these breaks for somebody to help build a place. Stop telling them to hire their employees and move them to the valley. Because you're taking my money to subsidize the state of Alabama. If you tell them you're going to give them a credit, say you got to move your people to Georgia. I don't care if they live in LaGrange, West Point, Harris County, Troup County, wherever. But don't let them hire them and then we subsidize them and then ship them out to live in Alabama. It's just naive and silly. Now I'm sorry to interrupt y'all.
The lady sitting right over here is Tina Duckett, who is our Director of Public Relations. She has the tape recorder going, and everything everybody has said over there is a suggestion she has recorded. So we have not ignored anything anybody has said. So would you like to be next? Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Deborah Story, and my daughters, they're grown now. And they graduated from this school, and it's been a while ago, and they have grown up, and when they graduated from school, I think the foundation is one of the great beginnings. And I think they had a great foundation. They was able to graduate without getting pregnant or anything like that because they had a good foundation. And plus, they love their teachers. And sometimes we come back to visit some of the teachers because they taught them well. Both of my daughters graduated with almost a 4-point average in college. And I think a lot of it had to do with how they started. And so sometimes we can't forget the foundation. And if we got teachers that really is investing in our kids, then sometimes, you know, we have to look at that and appreciate that, because big numbers sometimes is not all the way the best answer, because sometimes just the one-on-one and then having to deal time and to invest time in that student will take them the long haul. And so what we want to produce kids that's going to go out and make great careers. And I think because of Unity, that was one of the places that my kids was able to get started, and I really appreciate that.
Do you want to speak, young man? Okay, right over there.
This school is like it like make dream come true. But why are you close to school?
Oh my God.
Why are you closing this school? This school It's going like a make dream come true. You just trying to make people poor. By making school clothes and trying to pay a lot of money to get in school. This is the good school and better than all this school.
Anyone else wish to speak? I think we got a gentleman coming forward there.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Jimmy McCamey Jr. I had a few questions. I know you guys not answering any questions tonight, but I want the community to also think over these questions. And for the board and our superintendent, I want you guys to really seriously consider these questions as you make your final decision. I want to first of all say that I was born and raised in Troup County. I graduated from the public school system here. I went on to college, I got an undergraduate degree. I have a couple master's degrees, I have a PhD. I did postdoc training. I've been teaching in higher education for over 10 years. I'm also a small business owner. And I was educated right here in this system at a very small community school. I started on East Depot Street in elementary school. I went to Dunson Elementary School. I went to Dawson Street School. I also went to LaGrange High School. And I had a very small school with teachers who really cared. I want you guys to think about this. What is the psychological and psychosocial impact of closing these community schools? You're going to have students who are disconnected from their community. They're going to be disconnected from their teachers. They're going to also be disconnected from the people they're most comfortable with. I'm not going to rehash, but I did have as one of my comments. When you take a child from one school 1 year and then tell them next year we're going to put you in another school, that's a psychological impact. And it's also going to impact their academic achievement. I think you guys are very educated. I don't have to go into the psychological impact and the psychosocial impact. As educators, I think you guys understand that. But listening to some of the comments and looking at some of the slides, I don't see where you guys have even addressed that issue at all. Number two, we keep saying larger schools, larger schools. There's nothing in the research that says larger schools produce better outcomes. I think the research that I'm familiar with, we know that smaller schools, smaller classrooms produce positive outcomes. And the last thing I would like for you guys to consider is that with larger school systems, how do you control for quality? I think we all know we're not a metropolitan Atlanta here. And we may present ourselves as having so many students, which we do. We have a large group of students. But we're not a major city. And so I think we need to take all of these issues into account. Again, I'm a product of this system. And I know this system works. We've heard all the excellent things about this particular school. So I'm confident that you guys can make the right decision. But I want you to take into account the needs of the students, not just the dollars.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board and administration in the group? We don't want to adjourn if somebody still would like to come forward, but going once, twice.
I had 3 minutes donated to me. Can I use them?
Come back for one more shot.
I want to thank those fine folks who gave me 3 minutes of their time. We showed the charts there about austerity cuts or reduced revenue from the state from 2009 forward. Well, this is no surprise to anybody. Probably everybody in this room has had revenue cuts since '09. I know I have. My house is worth half of what it used to be. My paycheck is gone. I'm retired. And, you know, what happened when I got revenue shortfalls? I cut back on the things that were, as one lady put it, luxury. And I pay for the essentials, and then if I have any left over, then I spend it on what I want. There was a comment made about when we went to a 165-day calendar as opposed to 180 that we're currently on. And they said they might reduce it, but wouldn't reduce it but a couple of days. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason the board went back to 180-day calendar is because they had so many complaints from the mamas and the papas out there, because what they did is they extended the length of the day of the school. They did not have to do that. They could have shortened the day and still reduced the calendar to 165 days. And if you don't believe me, you can check with the state DOE, which, by the way, we'll have a state DOE meeting, a public hearing tomorrow at the central office on Davis Road, tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. Helen Rice is putting it on. She's with the state DOT school board, so by all means you might want to attend that meeting as well. But anyhow, I highly ask the school board. I think we're rushing into this. We've been talking about it for some time, but with all this input that we're getting, we hadn't changed the plan at all, so to speak. We've had Plan A, which is basically the same thing, Plan B, which is basically the same thing. I ask the school board, do not accept Plan B when you're asked to vote on it. Thank you.